Hello guys, my topic is about the semantics of Oracle triggers, which comes under advanced databases. So my name is Nagasai Sumant. So first of all, what is a trigger in PL or SQL? Triggers are stored programs that fixed by Oracle engine automatically when DML statements like insert, update, delete are executed, which on the table or some events. So occur, the code to be executed in a case of a trigger can be defined as per the requirement. So you can choose the event upon which the trigger needs to be fired in the time of execution. The purpose of the trigger is to maintain the integrity of the information on the database. So mainly the benefits of the triggers. The following are the benefits of triggers: the generating some derived column values automatically, enforcing the referential integrity, event logging, and stored information in the table access. So auditing. So basically, the triggers is stored program that are created by the Oracle engine automatically when the DML statements like insert, update, delete are executed on the table of some events. So what is an Oracle trigger? The trigger is a named PR or SQL block stored in Oracle database. It's an executed automatically when triggering event takes place. So the event can be of any of the following. The data manipulation language statement executed again is the table. Insert, update, or delete. For example, if you define a trigger that fires before an insert statement of the customer's table, so the trigger will fire once before a new row is inserted into the customer's table. So data definition language, DDL statements executive, example, create or alter statements. These triggers are often used for auditing purposes to record changes of the schema. The system event such as startup or shutdown of the Oracle database, user events such as login or logout. So mainly trigger can just is a name and PL's SQL block are stored in the Oracle database and executed automatically. The triggering takes place. And also examples like insert and update and delete commands, which are triggered if and fires before insert statement on the customer table. The trigger will fire once before a new instance in the customer's table. There are types of triggers in Oracles. So basically, the triggers can be classified based upon the following parameters: the classification based on the timing, before trigger, after trigger. So first, before trigger, it fires before the specified event has occurred. After trigger, it fires after the specified event has occurred. The next, instead of trigger, a special type, so that you will learn more about the further topics only for DML. Classification based on the level. Statement level trigger, it fires on one time for the specified event statement. So the row level trigger is fired for each record that got affected in the specified event. So only for DML. So classification based on the event. So DML trigger and DDL trigger, it fires when the DML event is specified. DML includes like insert, update, and delete commands, whereas DDL includes create and alter commands. DDL trigger whenever the DDL commands were executed, like clear and alter command. So database trigger, which is fired when the only the database event is specified. Here the database events includes log off, log on, uh, startup, and shutdown. So the based on the classification of events, you have the TDL triggers and TDL triggers, DML triggers, and database triggers. Having the various events, it includes insert, update, delete commands, and create alter commands, and log on, log out, shutdown. So now also classification on the level, having the statement level trigger, it fires in the time the specified event statement. The row level trigger having the record that got affected in the specified event. Oracle trigger usage. Oracle triggers are the usually mainly cases such as the following: enforcing the complex business rules that cannot be established using integrity constraints such as unique not null and check, preventing invalid transactions, gathering statistical information on table access, generating the value for derived columns, so auditing the sensitive data. So how to create a trigger in Oracle? So to create a new trigger in Oracle, you say the following create trigger statement. See that having the we have first of all create statement or replace having the trigger and followed by trigger name, and again before or after command after the trigger event followed by on and table name, which is anything where based upon specification requirements. Table name is based upon interest, and after command for each row, so follows or precedes another trigger, and after that followed by enable or disable. After that, when condition, so when condition mainly using the specific defining the specific conditions based upon the requirements. First, then declare begin exception. The three statement requires declare having the declaration statements and begin as executable statements, and having the exception handling statements, and having trigger as two main parts, header and body. So here we can see that creating the trigger statement, first one statement having the create statement and followed by trigger name, and having the we have before after for each row and enable and when and declare it begin exception. So basically exception statement is used to handle the exception statements, exception handling statements. Begin is used to the executable statements. Declare is used in declaration statements. Create or replace, here the create keyword specifies that you are creating a new trigger. So or replace keywords are optional, so they are used to modify an existing trigger. Even the replace keywords are optional, they appear with the keywords in most cases. For example, if you define a new trigger, syntax with create trigger example. Therefore, create or replace keywords will replace an existing trigger if it already existed, and create a new trigger if the trigger doesn't. Create a replace trigger example. Trigger name, here the specify the name of the trigger that you want to create after the create or replace keywords. Before after option specify the when trigger phase, either before or after triggering event. Example insert, update or delete. On table, and the table name is the name of the tables associated with the trigger. For each row, the clause uh, for each row specify the trigger, that is row level trigger, a row level trigger files once for each row inserted, updated or deleted. Besides the row level triggers, we have statements that triggers a statement trigger file once regardless of the number of the rows affected by the triggering event. So if you have event for the each row clause, the create trigger statement will create a statement level trigger. Enable or disable option specifies whether trigger is created on enable or disable state. Follow precise another trigger which is using triggering events such as in insert update. You can define multiple triggers to file. In this case, you need to specify firing 6 phase using the follow sub precise option. Thank you.